Standing tall within the centre of this fine market town, with its rural setting adjacent to unspoiled meadowland, is the tower of Wymondham Abbey. A priory was founded here in 1107 as a community of Benedictine monks. The founder was William Daubney. He was chief butler to King Henry I, whose widow Alice of Louvain was later to marry William's son. The building was on an ambitious scale. Stone was shipped across the English Channel from Caen in Normandy, and the original nave, a scaled-down version of the nave of Norwich Cathedral, was 12 bays long. The Priory Church was cruciform, with a central tower, and the monastic buildings, of which very little remains above ground, lay on the south side. However, by the middle of the 14th century, the Norman central tower was showing signs of weakness, so it was demolished. By 1376, the present central tower was under construction and was finished around 30 years later.
By 1448, this monastic house had become an abbey. And like many other monastic buildings in Norfolk, it has seen a great deal of change over the last 550 years. Reformation, demolition, fire, restoration, rebuilding. Today, it's very much a focal point for the community. So, Sybil, thank you very much for joining me today at Wymondham Abbey. It's very kind of you to show me around. Tell me a little bit more about these wonderful angels in the roof.
Well, my personal opinion is that they are the best angels in Norfolk. You can see that those angels are flying. They're not just going to glide down to earth. They really can fly. And that's what I love about them. They were installed in the 1440s when Norfolk was very well off because of the wool trade. And these angels would, we think, have been carved down on the ground. And when they were finished, then they would have gone up on rickety wooden scaffolding to put them into their places.
Is this an exact replica size?
Yes, it is. We had a cherry picker to come in during the course of the building project, and they photographed all the angels, but this one, they photographed him in all dimensions. He's slightly disproportionate, his head's a little bit too big, and I think that is so that you could at least try to make the features out when they're so high up above your head.
Yes. For me, one of the great features I want to see here is the altar screen, so please let's go and have a look at that because I'm very excited in seeing that.
Early in the 20th century, a new vicar, Archibald Parker, started out on some much-needed renovations and, having found a benefactor, refurbished many aspects. The Great East Wall remained plain until 1922, when work started on the Abbey's greatest adornment of modern times, the great gilded altar screen, designed by Sir Ninian Comper as a memorial to Wymondham people who lost their lives in the Great War.
So when was the altar screen created? How long did it take?
They began to work on it in about 1913, but it wasn't finished. The Great War got in the way. Until 1921, it was finished enough to be dedicated. But all the gilding wasn't complete until 1935.
And who was Sir Ninian Comper, the designer?
Well, he was a church architect. Comper's aim in the architecture of churches that he built, and in this particularly, was to bring unity and to show people that you could have all these different kinds of styles together and it would work. Right. And so there are pieces on this screen which look quite spiky and gothic, as you can see. And then other places where you get the rounder, more 17th century look of the thing.
Yes.
And the people are wearing the kind of dress that you associate with Greek and Roman times.
Yes.
So he's done that on purpose to try and meld everything together.
Yeah, it is really quite superb. And of course, from this position, Sybil, you get a great view of the wonderful organ here at Wymondham Abbey. And I understand there's quite an interesting story about how it was delivered to the Abbey.
Yes, believe it or not, it came all the way from London on a cart. Oh. It was given in 1793. Well, for quite a long time, music was frowned on in the church by the Puritans, and gradually, though, they began to add a little bit of music with whatever instruments people could play around and about. And then it began to become the thing to have an organ. And this farmer thought that's what we needed and paid for it.
Oh, right. Well, thank you very much indeed, Sybil, for all of your time this afternoon. It's been fascinating here about the angel roof, about the altarpiece, and also the organ as well. It's just a beautiful spot to spend an afternoon. Thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Wymondham Abbey is definitely an ancient treasure chest, for it also houses the original market charter for the town. There's a copy of the King James Bible, Elizabethan writing on the pillars and some very old graffiti. And it's an active and lively parish church with services every day and numerous events and activities throughout the year. Their new lottery-funded Abbey experience displays and additional facilities ensure that a visit is enjoyable and memorable.
So this is all part of the benefits of the HLF funding. Tell me about what you have developed.
Absolutely. I mean, the idea behind the Abbey experience was to make a visit, for whatever reason, whether that's worship, to come to an event, for education, or as a tourist, to make that easier and more enjoyable. So on a sort of basic level, we've now got toilets, which is a great boon, really, and brings us into the 21st century at last. But we've also got these multi-use spaces. So you can see around you there's a lot of display to tell the real story behind the church. We've also got wonderful facilities like underfloor heating, which make it a usable space for meetings all the time. It's used by community groups. We have school trips here, and we've got wonderful facilities. We've got breakout rooms, and of course, it's history right here for children to see, which is fantastic.
And as part of that history, you've incorporated the part of the Abbey right here. I mean, it's throughout, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, we'd have been standing outside, and standing here, you can actually see the change in the building from the 12th century right through, and then to be standing here in what we need in the 21st century.
Yes.
Right, so we're now coming through into the East Monastic Tower.
Right.
So this was originally the tower at the monk's end of the church. And it's just a wonderful view when you look right up.
Yes.
And you can also see it's square at the base, quite plain.
Yes.
But as you go up, you can see in the corners there's a squinch, which actually takes it from the square shape into the octagonal shape at the top, which makes it so beautiful.
Yes. And that's called a squinch, is
That's
it?
right.
And that's where the brickwork changes?
Yes, to change the shape.
Fascinating. I love that, squinch.
It's a good word.
It's at least 18 points on Scrabble, isn't it? Esther, another clever use I see here of the exterior wall, so showing both, if you like, ancient and modern.
Absolutely, and this is one of those spaces that is used for all sorts of different things. Again, it's another room that we can use for school trips, but behind all these oak panels is in fact wonderful storage, and this is used as the choir vestry. So behind here we've got all the robes and all the music sets. So it really allows our choir, which is a voluntary choir, but fantastic, and they've now got wonderful facilities.
Yes, absolutely. And this window here has got some history behind it, hasn't it?
It certainly has. We also reinstated this window here, which had been blocked up at the Reformation, and when they pulled out the rubble, which in fact was very fine pieces of worked stone from the monk's part of the church. They also discovered, etched into the side of the reveal here in the window, is actually a design for a bar tracery Gothic window, which is quite a wonderful find because it actually shows that Wymondham at this time was at the forefront of medieval architecture.
Well, I must say this HLF funding has really benefited you in such an enormous way.
One of the descriptions that somebody gave of the project was it was to future-proof the Abbey, rather than it be, sometimes we have visitors come here and they're expecting a ruin or a relic or something that's stuck in the past, but actually the idea behind this development and the way it's being used by all sorts of different people in as many different ways as we can think of, it really is that future-proofing idea.
An unusual feature of the foundation of Wymondham Priory in 1107 was the founder's intention that the church should be used by the Benedictine community and also by the townspeople as their parish church. He made that very clear, but no direction was given as to who had jurisdiction over what parts of the church. This led to many disagreements between the priory and the parishioners, and over the centuries it involved the Pope, King Henry IV, King Henry VIII, the Archbishop of Canterbury, And let's not forget 1549, Kett's Rebellion.
Now in the 21st century, this beautiful building is very much in the heart of the Wymondham community. 900 years after its foundation, it truly is a place for worship, wonder and welcome.